I had a couple kind of like that dark night of the soul as I was researching, and this started a long time ago too. You just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like Christina. I'm a researcher, but I'm pretty quiet about it. And all the different things that I started researching, like, blew me away. Like, they blew me away. And it started, like I was telling Dana, when I was with the Chamber of Commerce and they needed a designation, you know, someone designated to go to the county emergency preparedness, all this stuff. And I started hearing all these things that were facts, you know, and all emergency preparedness that was there, and not in case, it was for when.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 15 years ago, and I like went, how can nobody know this? And then all of a sudden I'm in Desi, you know, and they're like, this is in place, 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 and I'm like, holy shit. And it wasn't for when, it wasn't for like if shit went down, it's for when. And that kind of got me started. And I was a rebel when I was a child, but in the last 5 years, especially being in financial services, and we'd hear things and I knew they were wrong. How many times in your life you hear something you just know it's wrong? So I started learning about, I learned very quickly about about the money system. Because the first time I heard that, I had a lot of backing already. I had done the math. And I'm like, holy crap, that's why, that's how, that's... And I already knew the unethical, like how bad that situation was. And I already knew the math. That there isn't all these things. The Canadian Deposit Insurance. I have a freaking calculator. I know it's a crock of shit before I ever researched anything or got into conspiracy. I know it's a crock of shit. I knew, like, all these things, they just didn't make sense. So those actually come fairly easily for me. But I did have a hard time because I was in the financial services industry. And it's really hard, even though you're doing the right thing, to even do the right thing within an industry that you no longer believe in because it's a made-up story. None of it's real. That was an extremely hard transition for me. And I had to give up some of my licenses because I could no longer be in my ethics and be in that field. I still hold one of them because I can still do what's right for people that are in the system. And that's the challenge that all of us are having, is how do you balance being in the system and out of the system? And how do you, but what a lot of people are doing is how do you fight the system? You don't fight the system. I'm going to get to that. But I started reading about the planetary alignments and the wave going up and all of the, and the HARP and the this and the that and everything and the Illuminati and the Masons and going back to the Anunnaki and all these things, and I got into such friction every time and then have to get back in my heart. And there's a lot of work I don't think anyone understands. Even Christina does, there's so much work that goes into this, being able to present it the way it is, like as a certainty, and then being able to like retain your sanity. And I've had a lot of dark nights of the soul. Because I got to a point where you really start knowing this is only 1/10 of 1% of all the things that are out there. In as far as I can figure, going, okay, in the next 5 years, there's like 40 global, absolute, horrible catastrophes that are scientifically proven that you can look at now. Scientifically proven that you can look at now. And that really bothered me. Because there's not, right? But then you take a step back. Because we got to a point where, you know what, when you're in this and you're researching it, and it is so dark, and it's so horrible, and it seems so hopeless. And then all of a sudden it takes somebody, a friend, a goddess, to take a step back and go, look, who are we? Who creates this world? Who creates this reality? What we're talking about this morning was illusion, created from somebody else's intent with the knowledge, because they know how the mind works. They know how the spirit works. They know how to brainwash you. They know how to control you. They know how to change your energy patterns. They know how to change the earth. They know how to rape her. They know how to do all of those things. That is why everything has been implemented. All of those 50 catastrophes that are going to happen and all these absolutely heinous acts that they've put in is because they know. They know. And the whole bottom line is they don't want you to know. Why don't they want you to know?
Because you can change it.
So even when they let things out, right? There's lots of things that are let out. And you have lots of revolutions.
They want that. They want the fear. They want the conflict.
Really? Isn't that the answer if you have a police officer standing in front of you and you're like, you know, most people when they're not in center, how do you fight back a police officer? Are you ever going to win? Or are you going to get tasered?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever seen a takedown?
Yeah.
Been in them.
Oh, okay.
How do you come up, do you ever go like this to a system that is unfair, that's a total lie, that's a total illusion, and built to keep you down? You don't fight them. But I'm going to tell you from a massive amount of research and a lot of that the reason those systems were implemented is because there's amazing shifts and changes coming up. Like I'm talking, nothing has ever been seen in history like what's happening now with the speeding up of consciousness. Nothing. And the reason they've been implementing these things for 100 years, probably tens of thousands of years, and rewriting our history, they have the knowledge. They have the power. But where is it? Because they're psychopaths. And it's about control. And the reason that thousands of years haven't been implemented, millions of people killed by the Inquisition.
By what?
All by the Inquisitions, the witches, right? Why were women so... Okay, thousands of years, women used to run the world. Men and women worked together. They were balanced. Male and female were balanced. All of these things are starting to come back in our energy field, and the opportunity for us to change our world, to be able to actually evolve up into a totally different plane. If that's your belief, it's mine. And the reason all these control systems have been so put into place all these years is because we're more powerful than they are.
Exactly.
Because in them, they can control our minds. They can alter your bodies. They can alter our perceptions. They can build all of these illusions. But there is nothing stronger. Kathy said, 500 times stronger in the heart than in the head. And you psychopaths have that.
Nope.
They don't. So really, who's afraid?
Them.
They are.
That was my thought. You think about that, the power of the heart. Who's afraid? They're building these systems out of fear to protect themselves. And it's infinite possibilities right now. 50 disasters could happen. Utopia could happen. Transition up could happen, because who creates this universe? But in order for you to create a universe and to get into your heart and to be strong and to be in that goddess energy, in that God energy, you can't do it without being aware of what is messing with your mind, what is messing with your life, of what reality really is.
Yeah.
That's what this weekend was about. Because what they call reality, which is the illusion that was so specifically built, is a cage. And it's an ugly cage with, yes, a lot of nastiness. But it's only built out of their fear. Now, if people start to wake up, I'm going to give you another fact. As your vibration, as everybody's know, you can feel, your vibration is raised. Your vibration is raised. Certain things can only attack, certain vibrations, certain energies can only attack certain energies. This weekend, your vibration has gone up enough points that if you're walking down the street, somebody goes, "Fuck you, bitch." You know that curse that usually, like, people go, "Oh, I'm getting a headache." You're gonna go, "The hell?" Whew.
Because we're light and information.
It's not going to affect you. Guess what? A lot of hypnotism that they do. There's strobe lights, there's this, there's... I mean, you have no idea the shit they have out there. You're not going to see it anymore. You didn't have to do anything. But just allow the knowledge to go through your mind, and you've already bulletproofed yourself, energy bulletproofed yourself in lots of different ways. If something comes up, vaccinations, this and this and that, you know enough to go, I'm going to research this, or I know who to call. right? So infinite possibilities.
So we don't call 911, we call
Yeah.
9 Christine.
There are infinite possibilities. We create the world. Have you noticed how many people are starting to wake up?
Yes.
Absolutely. Infinite potential is why they have been so busy
Yes.
over the last
Yes.
10,000 years to keep us down. Right? Because we have infinite potential and we can so easily overthrow them. Okay, if the heart is 500 times stronger than the mind, think about that. How many Illuminati is there? Really? Kathy brought up something. She's like, look, you should read my page on Facebook. Everyone's doing what we're doing here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Thank you.
We're here with our energy combined, and it is affecting people out there. So we didn't have to do anything.
When
Overnight.
you move,
Excellent.
you allow everyone else to move. And we'll go through that later.
Friends
Absolutely.
are forming councils, forming groups, forming meditation circles. Like overnight, I kid you, none of that stuff was there yesterday morning.
So probably in this area, probably 20
Oh, I
groups.
got goosebumps.
I know.
Yeah.
20 groups at least.
Oh, well, that's like,
somebody
wow.
simplify that for me because
Okay. You go ahead.
You know how you felt? You weren't in our retreat when we had it?
Yeah.
But you were there. Did it
Okay.
change you?
oh fuck.
Exactly. That's what we're talking
We
about.
just changed. We sent out a wave of change just by our connection
Gotcha.
that's creating things way outside of us.
Kathy's seeing evidence.
Way
from
outside of
And
us.
everyone that
And not just here in Edmonton. I'm talking England and Australia, the States. My friend Debbie sent me a picture. She lives in Georgia. They started a Occupy Atlanta, Georgia thing. And she's like a 66-year-old grandma. She's standing there. She used to wave placards in the 70s and had been thrown in jail and stuff. And she's still doing it. And all her grandkids are like, right on, grandma. You know, and like she's doing it. And then there's a couple of councils and groups that started here in Edmonton. This was literally, I got shivers again, overnight.
Yeah.
Overnight.
That's how it works though, because once one moves, it allows everyone to be able to move. And I have a story about that later. which
That's
is very
raising,
interesting.
that's consciousness
vibration.
and
That's also
raising
being your
vibration.
awareness, too, that you're aware of. these
Exactly.
And you allow other people
Buy a
to
vehicle,
become
you see them
aware
all around.
because
Yeah.
we are.
Yes.
We're going through
We are the universal mind.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we all clicked before we clicked because the friction that was brought up this morning and different people are, but I wonder, right? There is, you don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be afraid anymore. What we've done and what Christina allows people to do, and thank you so much,
that. Yes.
is to prevent you from having to go into that. To submerge yourself in the shithole because she's a warrior. And she can go in and cover herself with shit, be mad and truck right through, shut her off.
Sorry.
But
Thanks.
it prevents us from having to do that. And what I've learned through even the worst things that I've read, there is no fear
No.
in knowledge. The more I know, the scarier it gets, the funnier it
The
gets.
funnier it gets.
You're like, oh my God, really? Because this thing came about Iceland and they wouldn't, this was just a funny one, because everybody caught it too. In Iceland, they wouldn't, they're not letting the banks in, and we like, all the Illuminati, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, how are they going to create terrorists in Iceland? I'm still waiting for the news. What are they going to come up with to be able to attack Iceland? Really?
It's gonna
Because
melt.
we're not
Or
going
is it going to be an earthquake?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be, you know, like you almost get to the point where it's, you see the game.
Just had this vision of Raylene's penguins with things on their back.
White penguin.
With a little bit of stick of dynamite.
Terrorist penguins. Sorry.
The terrorist penguins. Awesome. So all those things needed
my
to be
God.
brought up. Yeah. They needed to be. And you do need to be aware of them.
Oh, God.
You don't necessarily need to study them.
No.
If it pulls you to, and you're strong enough to, then absolutely go do it. But this bottom line, you have to understand, we have infinite resources because we're the creators. We have infinite resources here. The bottom line is, we are one. We are one, even with the psychopaths. We are one within ourselves, the shadow side and the light side. Right? And somewhere along it has to come into the middle for the universe to work. It's all about the evolution of consciousness, raising people up, right? If I hadn't been raped, I wouldn't have figured all that stuff out, right? If I hadn't got cancer when I was with Justin, then I wouldn't have done all this. Like, everything happens. These wars happen for a reason. It's that last push. Wall Street has been screwing us and screwing us and screwing us and lying and da-da-da. And just pushing like we're retarded. And enough people woke up and went, this is like so right. And now there's 200,000 people on Wall Street. And they're joining, their energy is joined, their dreams are joined. And they're just standing around there talking, you know, and they're passionate and they're loving and they're sharing things. They are changing the police force because they're standing there because they know they can. Somebody comes up to you with a billy club and you can stand there and look at them and know in your heart, we're one. I'm sorry. You're confused.
I love you.
You're so confused and you're off consciousness.
I love you.
You're
I
still
respect you.
sleeping.
Right?
Yeah.
We are in a place, legally, everything. We're at one man's say so, we could be in total martial law, they would be knocking down our doors, they would be hauling people away, shooting them out in the street, putting us in concentration camps, wiping us out en masse. But those military and those police that they're training to be aggressive now, that they're covering with symbolism, that they're doing all these things to create a mass so unconscious that it would turn on itself. Not unlike a cancer in your own body. To create a consciousness that would turn on itself. But if you're aware and you have a cancer in your body, you know it's something's gone rogue. You can't, can you fight cancer?
Yes.
Like fight it? No,
Not
actually fight
physical, no.
You have to work through, figure out what it is there and work through it.
Your energy. Yeah.
And it's not even a fight.
It's not.
It's an understanding.
It's an understanding.
It's finding knowledge, and it's really finding out who you are. Because crisis is what makes you find out what you're made of.
And it's the difference between, like in the training that I had, someone's attacking you, someone's behind you that you need to protect. First off, that's it. We have a lot of big reasons. Someone's behind you need to protect. Someone comes to attack you, you know they're unconscious, but we're one. You don't go, fuck you, right? And go in there, because that's what they want, because they're feeding off of that. They're feeding off the negative, and they win by pulling you off. You can't go, oh my God. That's which is what they've conditioned us.
And when we really get it, when we really get the concept that we are one and we're creating our realities, there won't be a need for crisis anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
so right now, most of us are conditioned that when they say if a policeman come to our door, we go, yes, yes sir. And we can't. Because it takes, not even a lot of people, but it takes a tribe of people to stand up and say, no, this is mine. This is right. We are one. You're retarded. You don't know what you're doing. And to be able to send that love and send that strength. Like that is the only way. Really. And the tribe. And that word I have heard more in the last 6 months than ever before in my life.
Amazing. Yep.
And in this point in my life, with all the fear, everything that I've gone through, and the fear that I know was brought up with a lot of people this morning. If the shit goes down. If the shit goes down, it'll be because we still, as humans, need a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
Big enough to have a stand-up saying no. Right? And own our space and own our hearts and be able to stay there. It's only because we need a big enough wake-up call. That's what all these little things are. Wake-up calls. And we just need enough of them. Which is starting to get there, right?
Overnight,
To start to change things. So say we still do need a wake-up call, and there's not enough of us to create a totally different universe, and shit goes down. Oh my God. We have Christina. Right? We have Tony who can hunt and fish and do this, you know, all those other things. Take a mental inventory.
Rob wants to live it that way.
Take a mental inventory of the people that you know in your head. Right? Take a mental inventory. How secure do you feel? Take a deep breath.
More secure than everybody else, I know.
Yeah.
Take a look around this room.
Oh, nurse,
Just
nurse,
be
by the
in
way,
this room.
if you're sick.
Nurse.
Nurse,
I can bandage you up, fix a broken leg.
good.
Looking for a nurse and a dentist. We still need a dentist.
I have never felt so secure
Yep.
in my life. Not totally in myself, but in the source, in my heart, and what I need to do. That I will be guided, and that the universe is putting together a tribe.
Absolutely.
Lots of them, all over the place. And even the people in this room, if World War III started right now, don't go to the fiction, but your kids not being here. We would figure it out. Bang, 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 bang in an instant. Because Spirit would guide us. Mother Earth would guide us. We would guide each other. Our angels, our guides, our everything would guide us. Because we're in that place and we are in unity with it. And it's been as much as some people have pretty much scientifically proven, like through quantum physics and stuff I can't explain. The Earth, Mother Earth itself, has an electrical system, an energy system that matches ours. It has a consciousness system that pretty much matches ours. And if we resonate at the same level that she is, we will just know. If you're in here, if you feel pulled to do something, I feel like planting a garden, she's telling us just a little while ago. I just, all of a sudden, never having my whole life, and I'm busy, and all this, I just feel like planting a garden. Plant a freaking garden.
Are you kidding
Really?
me?
I was thinking that too.
Like,
Really? Yes.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah, listen to yourself. And in the bottom line, if this world goes under, there's a lot of things that could happen.
Absolutely.
Even if we die, we're going to like the other side of heaven, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, everything is in perfect timing.
Yep.
Just to increase our vibration and our ability to knowingly create. So everything that we talked about, we come in going, everything out there is bullshit. Everything we talked about on the weekend, very valid. But it's all bullshit. The bottom line is you need to realize who you are and why they fight us. That we are all part of one unit. That we are all together. That we're beautiful, we are perfect, we are powerful beyond measure, and we create the universe. So that's our transition. Now if we can just stay out of our egos, we will be fine, right, Kathy?
Right.
So we'll get Kathy to go on that one.